Good evening. My name is Mira, and I am Lucia's daughter. My mother was named for Santa Lucia, which means light, and so I find it befitting that today I am lighting the candle for her. I love talking about my mom, but I'd like tonight to tell you instead about my friend Grief. My mother's death was expected, but I was not prepared. I remember the day I first met Grief, although I didn't recognize her as a friend, not quite yet. My mother had died the night before, and as I stared at the evolving sunset, I had the monstrous realization that she would not see the sunset with me. For the first time in my life, I was facing the setting sun without her. She was not going to see the sun with me again, ever, forever. You see, the world that we are thrust into as the bereaved makes absolutely no sense. It's as if the map that guided us before our person died does have all the same items in the legend, but they no longer correspond. A sun that she wouldn't see, it didn't belong. My heart, no longer whole, it was shattered in my ribs. In the earliest days after my mother's death, I recall walking into a coffee shop or the post office, and people would ask, "How are you?" And I answered, "Oh, I'm fine." But I wanted to scream, "Can't you see it? Can't you see the crater where my heart should be? The cracks in my chest?" And in those moments, and every moment since, Grief has become my constant companion. At first, her entrance was like that of a wailing, colicky baby. Nothing I did, no shushing, no swaying, no bouncing could quiet her cries. When my own babies would cry inconsolably, I cried with them, and I did again with my infant Grief. In time, Grief occupied a more toddler-like disposition, at times winsome, evoking a smile from me, and then a tantrum would come with no warning and very little reason, and I would cry again. There were moments I deeply resented Grief and her tantrums. They were never convenient. At some point in the winter of that first year without my mom, I came to see Grief as more of an adolescent, with glimpses of the maturity that would come, but still, those tantrums, if you know, you know. Same toddler energy, bigger words now. While Mom was dying, Sherry, Leslie, Nicole, and all of my mother's care team served as the midwives who birthed her out of the world that we had shared. Trish and the grieving adult children I met in support groups served as the midwives who birthed me into this world, the one where my mother no longer exists. But for Grief, Grief is what allows me to keep my mother alongside me. Grief is the liminal gift that allows us to straddle these strange worlds, the one we live in now without them, and the world where they were and are again. Grief, if you let her, will gift you an updated map with a new legend for this bizarre world that you have been born into, that looks the same to others, but to us is so vastly different. I've come to understand that the cracks and craters made the space for my mother's essence, for her being, to still have a place in this new world that I now occupy. In developing a relationship with my grief as a companion, and yes, as a friend, I've come to understand that grief is just our love. It's the extension and continuation of the deep love that was my mother. Grief is how she is always, always with me. So I will invite grief as my friend to my table and grieve my mother for the rest of my life, forever. Thank you.